Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the first Rugged Gamer stream of the year.
Hey, there we go.
Hello,
Look
and
at you. Look at you wearing a shirt, and there's me in a dressing gown.
Yeah, I've been at an event today, so I'm kind of like I just sat my ass down on the chair and thought, you know what, I'm not moving again for the next couple of hours.
God, if I knew there was a dress code, I would have got the old waistcoat and tie.
Yeah, rub it in, you bastard. Well, anyways, welcome to the stream. This is the gaming podcast for the Rugged Studios. With me this evening is ProDoktorDank with his witty humour as always. How are we doing this evening, Dank?
Oh, well, head's banging, but obviously that's the price you pay when you're going a night out. So,
yeah, bloody Geordie.
I'll live with it. Tell us, what was it? I said one of the people I was out with, obviously, friggin' tell us you're not Geordie without being Geordie. There's us walking around with bloody pints in a plastic cup.
Oh, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Well, so tonight is going to be all about, obviously, things gaming related, and we're going to go off the schedule a little bit with some of the stuff, because obviously some of the things we'd like to talk about tonight isn't necessarily 100% game related, but it's things that gamers are into, and that's what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. And as always, if you'd like to get in touch with us about any topics or anything like that you'd like to see on the podcast in the future, then make sure you do that. The Discord is about at some stage. I'll make sure to add it to those of you who watch this on YouTube, and those of you catching it on obviously any of the other podcast devices that are out there, then do make sure you check out Rugged Studios on Discord or on YouTube or on Twitch. This is currently streaming live on Twitch as we're doing it, but obviously those who are catching it later obviously won't have that pleasure of seeing us live. So make sure, if you do want to join us in the future, that you join us at 8 PM on Sundays. That's 8 PM UK time. We're hoping to try and do it at least... We're going to do 2 at least a month, but we're going to try and do 1 a week if we can. But obviously time and our current schedule's dependent, because ProDoktorDank today has finally made affiliate. Congratulations, Dank.
Yes, I know. Thank God for that. I woke up this morning hungover and I saw the email. I was like, oh, yep, champion. Made me deal that. I was like, yeah, get in.
Fantastic.
Off. Nah, I'm buzzing me. I mean, as I said, I was planning on doing this earlier on. I've mentioned it a few times before, and well, obviously certain circumstances wouldn't let that happen. I'm not going to go into details of that because, obviously you know the background, but I'm not going to air that on here. So
no, unfortunately, sometimes when you do things like this, the gaming and stuff like that, it is unfortunately one of them that really does appeal to a certain crowd, and some people just can't get with that crowd, which is ironic because it's one of the biggest industries along with the beauty industry, and obviously film industry is completely in the law unto itself, but gaming industry and technology in general is one of the big ones out there.
But I'd say the gaming industry as well, now it's starting, like the games you see today as well, some of them are just like full feature length movies just with extra steps. You just have to press buttons in them.
I think a lot of the stuff... Sorry, go on, buddy.
Like going back, I think to me it was more or less like the Metal Gear Solid 4. The Metal Gear Solid 4, that went up with, 14 hours of cutscenes just in one game alone.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of games out there with a lot of cutscenes, but when you're playing something like a single player style game, then cutscenes do kind of give you the immersion though. So there is the pros and the cons to doing anything like that, obviously.
I mean, I haven't played a decent single player for a while now. I mean, obviously, because some of them, like The Last of Us, PlayStation exclusive. I mean, that's their bag. They want to do that, but I'd love to play that game. Love to. And I can't wait for the actual film of that to come out as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same as you are with that I am with Final Fantasy VII, the remake or remastered, whichever way you want to say it. That's still PlayStation exclusive, which is a shame because I used to love that game as a child, but I don't own a PlayStation because PlayStation sucks ass.
Yeah, as I mentioned the night before, I got rid of my console as well because,
PC Master Race.
I was going to say I didn't want to open a can of worms on that just in case there's any viewers on your like consoles as well, but it's all good fun. It's just banter among the gaming community. That's what I say.
Definitely.
You get people who go over the top and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
no, we obviously with stuff to do with the YouTube and stuff like that, I get to see every kind of end of the spectrum from Switch players to the other consoles through to the PC to those who are playing VR as well. And I mean, I don't play VR myself, but there are a lot of people who do play VR, and obviously they want to try and find stuff out. So at the end of the day, it's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you find
yeah,
best, and you should just enjoy it the way you
hey,
do.
I'm even down to play Nintendo Switches, man. They're fun.
Yeah.
They are fun.
Well, the motto at the studio is, game your way. Because at the end of the
Exactly.
day, it doesn't matter what you got, how you got it. You should just enjoy, and just enjoy the game. That's what we're all here for. We've played quite a few toxic games, unfortunately. Siege being one of them.
I was just gonna say I knew that would come up, but that's
but
just.
sorry, go on.
I mean, Siege. Everyone says Call of Duty was toxic. I mean, when I played that I never really, mind you, I didn't have a headset or anything, so I never really spoke. So I never spoke to anyone. But even then, I mean, you'd get the odd person. I mean, you're gonna get the odd person just screaming obscenities at you just because you did a wrong play and stuff like that. But no, I think the most toxic it has, and it's a shame as well because I love Siege. I've been playing it since it came out. Probably is the Siege community. It's funny, but it is really toxic. But you get some hilarious people on there. It's brilliant.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it? I mean, like, what was it? Was it last night we were playing a game and some guy just started kicking off at us because we had somebody who had ranked gold in the past. He hadn't he hadn't deranked himself at all. He just had a bad string of games and ended up being in range of us. And he was getting some right obscenities thrown at him. And I'm like, the dude's trying to play a game. Just because you got killed by him, just move on.
Yeah, exactly. I
You
mean,
know, go on.
that's what I don't think about. Like, hang on, I'll rephrase it. That's what I think most people in the Siege community don't realize. It's like everyone starts off at some point. Yeah, you do get the people who are like naturally good at games. They'll just jump into a game and they just absolutely own it. But unfortunately for the likes of me and stuff like that, even on the console and now on PC, I'm having to relearn that learning curve again.
Yeah,
Because
it's
obviously when Siege came out, no one really knew what it was about. Everyone was just running around bloody TKing each other and all sorts.
yeah.
Lobbing C. And then obviously as it progressed, obviously you found out about lines of sight, putting holes in walls to kill people and stuff like that. Back when I first started playing and anyone knew anything about that, you could see for your whole team and not even get kicked.
Yeah, I do remember them days when I was on console. Like you could literally just grab a grenade, let it cook in your hand, and blow everybody up, and there you go, job done.
Yeah. And
But yeah,
obviously
a lot of that's changed obviously now because obviously they bring in a lot of things that are like you get kicked for the last TK, you get reverse friendly fire and
yeah.
stuff like that, which is a shame, But a lot of these games are having to do that because unfortunately there are some who won't just play the game. You
Yeah,
know,
they just want to purposely go out there and make the game hell for people. And I think that's probably why most of the player base of Siege has dropped off. I mean, I know the boast that's like 60 million players, but what was it? It was funny once I saw on a Siege advert and it came up with a 60 million player fan base, and then there was a comment underneath half of them 60 million players are Smurf accounts.
yeah, it's probably more
And then
like
I just looked
2/3
at it.
now.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
didn't get it
ridiculous.
wrong. I had a Smurf on console, but I barely used it. I just kept on my main one because I was like, I just want my main one to stay with it, and I will on PC as well.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I don't have enough time to bloody start making Smurf accounts. Some bollocks of that. I've
It's
got
not
enough on
just
my plate, I tell you.
It's not just that as well, it's just like the hassle of having to buy the game, then you've got to bloody re-download all the battle passes and stuff like that if you want all the operators. And to me, that's just effort when I can just
Yeah.
load the game up and I'm there.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, we talked about the single player side of things. I mean, a lot of single player stuff does have cutscenes, and even some of the battle royales. Like for example, when you play the Call of Duty battle royale, you're greeted by a cutscene every single time you play into the game.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a game that I finally got you into quite well, and I believe you may still have it running in the background.
I think I do
X4.
have it running in the background. Yeah, X4. I mean, obviously it took a while for me to get into it. I'm really enjoying it at the moment, actually. It's it, it's just at your own pace. You can do what you want. If you want to do missions, do missions. If you want to conquer the galaxy like Mike has been doing on his, conquer the galaxy. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different and similar to Stellaris, and I like that game as well.
Well, yeah. When I actually recently done an interview with Bernd Lehan from Egosoft. He's the Egosoft managing director, and he blessed me with his time yesterday, and I got time to sit down and have an interview with him. That interview will obviously release on the 28th, so 3 days time, where you get to see what he actually said. And you know, one of the things I did bring up, I said it's like Stellaris and Elite Dangerous combined, all the best bits, and you're still nowhere near Warrior X4 is, because what game can you conquer an entire galaxy but step foot on the capital ship of the ship that's destroying everything? You know what I mean? There's very few at the moment that are in that stage.
Yeah, that's what I kind of. I think that's where it lacks on Elite Dangerous, because you can only have one. You can't. Well, you can have fleets, but you've got to do with the online community. You can't like just build your own fleet and then just have it follow you around everywhere and then fly your ship and all that stuff. I mean, obviously, you probably won't be able to do it now because it might create copyright lawsuits and all that stuff. So obviously, that's by the by on that one. But like that, I think that's what the beauty of X4 is. It combines. I mean, I've obviously just bought a carrier and I'm just like, I can just step on it and it's like just looking out and then looking over all like the ships I've got in the hangar, that all my ships flying around.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I finally get to feel what it's like on Darth Vader when he's on his Super Star Destroyer. Just looking out that window, it's like, yes, this galaxy's mine. Bloody brilliant.
Well, there's you remember when I bought the Raptor?
Oh yeah.
And we stood there. Well, we stood there for how long was it? It must have been about 40 minutes, literally just watching the ships fly out and back in again.
Back in again. There was so many fighters; it was unreal.
Yeah, it was like, this is amazing. Like, where can you see that? You know, and as you say, it's like Darth Vader stood on his little hangar deck, going, "Yes, my minions, go out and conquer the galaxy."
Well, that's what it was. It's like the scene on Star Wars, and you see a ton of bloody fighters just come out of the bloody Star Destroyers, and just like, that's what it's like. You get to relive that stuff. Obviously, Star Wars mod for that game would be unreal.
There is a Star Wars mod for that game.
Oh,
yeah,
that's piqued me interest more now. Actually,
there's a Star Wars mod for that. I've actually got the Star Wars mod. I've not updated it recently, but I definitely will do. It's definitely something to check out. But you know, it's, as you're saying though, it's one of them where you know, single player games. There is one scale or the other. You've either got full cinematic story modes or you've got do it yourself sandbox modes.
Yeah,
and it is good. You know, it is good.
Create your own scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's good fun. It is good fun. But obviously, most of the stuff these days are going one or the other. So you're either going single player or you're going multiplayer. Now I actually, it was about CD Projekt Red with the current project, the Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, that's a single player game, and I believe it's a single player game. I'm pretty sure it's a single player game. But I definitely read CD Projekt Red where they mentioned saying, you know, going multiplayer, it's not where they're looking. They're looking at single player, and single players aren't dead, and they're out there to prove that single player games aren't dead. You know, there's no requirement for the multiplayer.
I kind of feel sorry for CD Projekt Red though, because obviously going off, they had a high bar to hit, considering that they're not long finished the Witcher Trilogy, and to me that was one of the best trilogies I've ever played.
Yeah, but you're talking the Witcher Trilogy, which was based off a book.
Yeah.
To CD Projekt Red, which is very futuristic, and you know, some people may look at it and go, "Oh yeah, it's just basically Witcher with a skin on," and it's not. It's a very completely different style. You know, different style of gameplay, different style of, you know, everything really. You know, you got a lot more color.
You should say that actually, because believe it or not, Cyberpunk 2077 is actually based off a book as well.
Yeah, but what I mean is you've got a book, but then you've got the Witcher series, and the whole Witcher series is you know, the lore, and it's so expansive. But 2077 didn't have that. It didn't have that backing already. And not only that, it's not a free roaming open world in that sense. You know, like, it's literally you're walking through fields for miles, and then monsters come out at you. You know what I mean? There's a lot more I think there's a lot more give and take with a game like that, where CD Projekt Red had a lot of moving parts and a lot of parts where your character is directly involving itself with another NPC. You know, you've got the crucial Keanu Reeves part where he's like coming up to you and stuff like that. Things like that aren't really in The Witcher. You know, there's none of that closeness. You're basically going to a pre-programmed NPC and going, "Give me money," you know, or "Give me quest." So yes,
kind of like the GTA single player version of it as well. It's kind of like that's not.
yeah, exactly. And I think that you're right. I think they had the bar, and I think everybody expected them to be above and beyond the bar.
Yeah,
And I think they felt a lot of pressures, and obviously they had to get it out because obviously it had been delayed and delayed and delayed. But I actually read an article recently. They actually did far better than they expected. I think they lost. I think it was 33,000 or something like that. But they had to refund. But I think it was something like 18 million or something ridiculous. They basically made a fuck ton of money. And they're actually saying that Sony are actually hindering them and saying, you know, if you hadn't took it off the market, we'd have been rich, basically.
I know it's come a long way now. I mean, I know obviously they've added to it. But see, that's what I like about CD Projekt Red, though. It's like they're one of the studios. It's like they know they've got a problem and they try to damn this. I mean, obviously the developers and stuff, they've got lives outside that game as well. Obviously, I know there's been a lot of controversy about the hours worked in the gaming industry and stuff like that. But it's like you've got to give them a break. I mean, the amount of hate they were getting when that game came out. I mean,
but that rolls back to what we were saying. You know, the toxicity. Yeah. Unfortunately, people want things now, and they're not willing to wait. You know, and it's like, why is it not out now? Why have I not got full access to it? Why has it not been patched a day later? And it's like, well, you know, you need to have a look at the back of the game and realize the amount of time and coding and all the art developers and, you know, all them kind of people that have been involved in this game. And as I said, I mentioned about the interview with Byrne, and one of the things we brought up was the thing that you actually asked me to bring up. And I said as a joke, I said my streamer wants to know when he can have a spoiler on his ship. And he was like, "What do you mean a spoiler?" And I was like, "Well, he wants to mod his ships." And he's like, "Well, the problem is the amount of work, and that's money.
Yeah,
you know, for an art developer to do something like that, you're not just talking a piece of paper with a picture on it. You're talking 3D, and it's got to move. It's got to have shading and all that kind of stuff. You know, and
it's got to look organic and stuff like that. And it's got to look
exactly. And it's.
I mean, yeah, I think I even said that here. I said it wasn't really one of the main priorities for the game. Really, I mean, if they got round to it, they got round to it. If they don't, they don't. It's not really a needs must.
No,
as per se, it's just customization. I mean that's nothing. I mean,
but when you take into the scale of what's required to allow that customization, and his favorite thing he was saying to me was compromise, and I think that's going back to CD Projekt Red. I think that's one of the things with CD Projekt Red is they compromised somewhere, and unfortunately, it landed them, you know, in very hot waters. But I honestly think after reading the article and seeing the kind of money they raked in for it, for CD Projekt Red, that wasn't a failure. You know, when you've got fans of the Witcher series and of CD Projekt Red, and they turn around and go, "Look, we know we fucked up. We know that. You know, we hold our hands up. We fucked up. It was never ready. It was never tested for pre next gen consoles. It's going shit here. We'll fix it." You know, and they have worked tirelessly to fix it.
Yeah, I think it was just bad luck. I think more than anything. It was, but I think it's another thing as well. I think we're in this generation where it's instant. You can get things in an instant.
Yeah,
and it's just across the board in general life. I mean, take away and get it in an instant. It's the instant gratification era, and the VFA. It's a good thing and a bad thing. And so obviously you get all these gamers who are coming into this now, and they're that used to getting games rammed off the belt, and it's like you can't.
Yeah, they want the market flooded, but then when they flood the market, the time taken to create these games just isn't there. You know, and it's a shame. We were due to have Duckmeister join us today. He's a good friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, and he was actually mentioning to me. He was like, "Have you done streaming?" I went, "Well, yeah, I stream all the time." And he's like, "No. Have you done game streaming?" I went, yes, I cover games. That's what I do. And he's like, no, you're not getting me. Stream
Game
your
streaming.
game. Stream your game. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you can stream your games now. And I was like, right, that's a bit weird. And he rightly said, that's where the world's going now. Streaming a game and stuff like that is as you say, it's that instantaneous gratification.
Yeah.
So it's like where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line?
I mean, to me, I mean, I know. Oh, pardon me, coughing, come to death there. Don't smoke it. Like when everyone was saying, "Oh, Cyberpunk needs to be released now. It needs to be released now. Oh, I'm not happy. It should be released now." I was just sitting there thinking, I was just like, you know what? They could take another 10 years to make that game. I couldn't care. They need to take their time. I need a blood drink. I'm telling you.
No, and as you say, it's a case of, yes, we want the games now, but as you said, it's quite rightly so. I'd have waited the same. I still haven't bought it, and not because I think they've done a bad job, but because I think, as you said, there's the pros and cons to everything, and I think a lot of people want to buy the game on the day of release. And I think there was I can't remember who it was, but a lot of people were kicking off saying we want a sequel to a game. I only caught it in glancing, and I can't remember what game it was. And the guy turned around and said, the developer turned around and said, buy it at full price, buy it on day one. And it's like, yeah,
I
I
remember
get
seeing a
that.
post about that.
Yeah, and I get that. I get the fact that you want to buy it on day one. You want to play it on day one. There's games that I've, pre-ordered. I mean, right behind me, I have all my World of Warcraft collection. When I was big into my World of Warcraft, I pre-ordered the collector's editions, and I was there on day one. But a game like that, you kind of can, because it's a developed game. It's a game that's running that you're adding to it, and it makes more understandability to have DLC as a day one release. And I'll talk about that in a second when you're releasing half finished games. But when you've got a brand new game that nobody knows anything about, is it really worth buying that on day one? Is it worth spending that kind of money? Yes, the developer's going to get all that kind of money. It's not on sale, so they're raking in a lot of cash, and a lot of people will argue and say it's not worth that, or whatever ways they want to talk about stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're risking what CD Projekt Red had. And I think if you're willing to buy a game on day one, you need to know the risk.
Yep.
And you need to accept that risk and stop bitching about it,
Yeah, because, I mean, in my, it's very rare I pre-order games, and I think the last one I pre-ordered was the Halo 5?
Oh yes, what a brilliant series.
I didn't like it.
You can just go and die. You're dead to
I
me
mean,
now.
obviously, I'm one of these people who were like 1 to 3, and was it 4?
Yeah. The thing with Halo was is 1 to 4 was the same game reskinned, and when Infinity was it 363 343 343. My brain's not working today. I've got heat stroke, and I'll talk about why I have heat stroke shortly. It's one of them where they needed to do something to keep that alive, and I think it was too late. I think the stuff we saw in 5 should have definitely come sooner, but as an optional. So, for example, you have the Spartan challenges and stuff like that, and they should have definitely been brought earlier in. But they were very much concentrating on Master Chief. And Master Chief was always the selling point for Halo. Everybody wanted to be Master Chief. Everybody loved Master Chief. He had this aura about him. And
he was just a badass.
Yeah, he was. And I think they really let themselves down by not expanding on that, because obviously we had a couple of we had a couple of attempts of doing anime style Halo stuff. You got all the books and everything like that. Then the film came out, and the film that they released, Forward Until Dawn, was not the best received, because everybody forgot about Halo, and everybody's like, Halo been and done that. You know what I mean? And I was a big Halo fan, and I bought it straight away. And there was
I got the Forward Until Dawn one. I liked the series. I was like, you know what? It's like it's kind of like a little glimpse into the potential of what a Halo film could potentially look like if it's given the time and care and attention.
Exactly.
because like you had the hunters, you had the elites with the stealth, you had the bloody ODSTs coming in, the planet getting glassed, and it's like that. Imagine that in a
That's
full scale
Halo.
film. Yeah,
You know, and I
and I
think.
think
Sorry, go on.
sorry about that, but I think I'm sure there's still the idea of a film floating around. Obviously, I just don't think anyone's took it on. I think it's scared directors away because if you look at it, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah, and let's talk about game films. Mortal Kombat has released now. Unfortunately, those of us in the UK struggle to watch it unless you're going to either
Yeah,
pirate it or you've managed to get yourself something like the HBO access. I think Now TV may have it. Very limited access to it, so unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to watch it myself yet. And I know you haven't. I know we both talked about wanting to watch it. But I really do think the market for game films is very hit and miss.
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I think there's massive potential there. There's definitely massive potential there, but I think the way they go about it needs to be done differently. You've got these platforms. I mean, the gaming industry is across everything. You know,
Yeah.
if you're a film critic or you're a lover of films, you know for a fact that a specific film's going to be a specific style. You go to watch Fast and Furious, you're not going to get fast cars, and now you're going to get shit
Ridiculous
like fucking
stunts.
flying around in space and all sorts. Now,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But you know what to expect. Only those who are fans of the games are going to know what to expect from a game
yeah, and
standpoint.
I think that's where it is. Like most films to the games to movies, they don't have like a to quote the Mortal Kombat director, actually said it's like everyone was kicking off about Johnny Cage and they're bringing in this new one called Tan. He said that wasn't because he's not in it for the lore. He's in there to like as an anchor point for people who've never played the games and stuff like that. As like a go through and entry rate into the world. So that Lewis Tan in Mortal Kombat, apparently, according to the director, McQuardo, how I don't know how you pronounce it. He said it's like we've brought him in specifically for people who've never seen the films beforehand, like the old ones, or never had an association with Mortal Kombat like that. That character there is their way into the series.
Yeah, which is what it needs. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm as I say, I've got collectors for World of Warcraft. I mean, I've got literally 2 plushies right behind me, sporting the Horde and the Alliance. You know what I mean? I'm a big World of Warcraft fan, and yeah, it's geeky, but so what?
yeah,
It's a
well,
fantastic game, and when I went to see the film, um, you got the stigma around it. Oh,
uh,
it's World of Warcraft, and it's like, right. So one of the biggest, one of the biggest companies in the
biggest
industry, making millions out of subscriptions, is a problem to you.
billions, I imagine now. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a massive. I mean, Christ, I think it was that and Dota and stuff like that which kicked off I mean, esports teams in those games. Whew, the prize pots are getting ridiculous in those games now.
exactly,
I mean,
and
they're looking at 30 million prize pot, man, for one team.
it's ridiculous. But
I
but
mean,
but but going back to it though is the stigma. Oh, you're going to watch a geeky film, and it's like, no, I'm going to watch a film that's entertaining. Get the
yeah,
geeky side out of your head. There's no geeky about it. It's CGI and live action. Live action, and that film was
yeah.
brilliant. I loved it. I thought it was a brilliant start to what could be something really big. But
And
that
I think it's,
stigma. So go on.
I think the critics are part and parcel as to why most game to film adaptations crash and burn because you know what some people are like. They'll see the first review, and if it's a bad review, they'll just go, "Oh well, I'm not even gonna bother."
But how many film critics are gamers? You know,
Yeah, that's the thing. There's not. That's one thing I've noticed. It's like most. What was it? I think my brother told us. Obviously, he watched Angry Joe's bloody review of Mortal Kombat. He says, "Quote Angry Joe. He went, if you're a fan of like the comics, the game stuff, like you'll love it. If you're a film critic, however, you'll hate it."
exactly. And the same with Mortal Kombat. Film critics have come out and said it's a terrible game. Terrible film. And I've heard other people saying, it's a brilliant film. You
I've,
know,
I haven't seen like from just your average Joe who's probably a fan of Mortal Kombat. I've not turned around and said it's a bad film. I said it's been spot on.
so how much do you pen on critics when you're in this industry, how much do you turn around and go, the critics have got it wrong? We need to see what it's like from a gaming perspective, or if not, take the idea of it being a game film out of the head and actually
Yeah.
go, this is a good film. I mean,
See,
sorry, go on.
to me, personally, obviously, I don't really have like high expectations of films. I mean, it's the same. It's the same across the board for me. It's like if it's got a good story, well, it's the same. Everyone wants a good story, beginning, middle, end. Continuity's good, all that stuff. Good character development. And that's probably one. I think that's one of the most things that lets it down in the game industry. Because obviously, when you come from the film industry, because when you come from a game, obviously you've got people who've invested in those characters on the game. So when you get the fans going at the film, obviously there's time constraints in the film, so you can't really cram all that character development in. So you've got to just do it quickly on the fly. I mean, take for instance, obviously, I know it's not a game film adaptation, but the Justice League, the original Justice League, there wasn't really much character development in that one, and that was one of the main gripes. It's like, where's Cyborg's background? Where's Flash's background? It was just pretty much they've all just tipped up now. They've got I'll kill bloody, what was it? It's not Darkseid. Was it Darkseid?
Darkseid's the main antagonist that you don't really get involved with. Steppenwolf is the guy they face.
Yeah,
And I only
Steppenwolf.
know that because I literally watched the Justice League 2 days ago. They Jack Snyder,
Zack Snyder.
Snyder's copy of it. Yeah, I literally watched it 2 days ago. I was like, nah, I can't sleep. I'm going to watch it, and it was brilliant. And you're saying it's not that's one where it's gone the other way around. So that's a film industry playing onto games. You've got Arkham Asylum, all the kind of Batman games you've got. You've got Lego Batman. I know that's kind of two things together, but you know what I mean. And I know Duckmeister's in the chat with us today. He's a massive Batman fan when it comes to the games, and they're not big games. They are good games. They're very good games. I've had a play of it myself, and I really enjoy playing them.
Never played the Batman games.
No, a lot of people haven't. But how big is that in the film industry?
Oh, Batman's big. I mean,
so it's the other way around. There, it's gone for it's trying to become a game, and it's not got the following to follow it, and it's the same way around. I think like World of Warcraft was the only reason why World of Warcraft was such a big hit was China put that through the roof, which is why we will more than likely see a second second film, because in the first one, the box office flopped over here, yet China alone sent it through the roof.
But I was saying this, obviously going back to the Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. I mean, I can't wait to see the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. I mean that is Mortal Kombat for me. I mean, just have Scorpion and Sub-Zero just fighting non-stop. I mean, because they just produce the best fights.
Yeah,
and it's just that rivalry.
But they're creating the story of Mortal Kombat here. So a lot of people kicked off saying that there was no tournament, but this is where you're getting all your background. Who is Scorpion? Who is Sub-Zero? Why are they here? How did Jax get his arms? Who's Sonya Blade?
I like how they do that though, because I think everyone knows through the trailers, who takes his bloody arms off.
Yeah, it's Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero, and obviously, well, the first incarnation of Sub-Zero. See, that's the other thing as well. I didn't know. I thought there was just only one Sub-Zero.
No.
And then I read the lore and stuff like that, and I was like, it's Sub-Zero's older brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's an entry to the Mortal Kombat universe, and I think if it's pulled off right, which I'm presuming it has, and obviously, unfortunately, the current pandemic makes it a little bit harder for the films at the moment. But as you say, there is multiple cases of Sub-Zero. But the story's now set, and I don't think Luke Cage. Luke Cage. Is it Luke Cage?
It's Luke Tam. There's a Tam. Is it Lucas Tam? I think he's called.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember now.
But there's a few. There was one obviously major person missing.
Johnny Cage.
Yeah, it was right the first time. Yeah, as I say, my brain's not working. Johnny Cage was not there, but he doesn't necessarily need to be. He's ready for your film number 2.
See, that's a good thing about the Mortal Kombat universe. I mean, if you've played the games and stuff like that, each new game they've got a ton of new different characters coming in.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Granted,
think
some are bad, some are bad, and some ended up becoming favourites.
yeah, and I think there's a lot more to come for it. Now, obviously, talking about the stigma around things and why my head is like a beetroot. Today was my first LARP session. I was invited by a good friend of mine who I've known for a few years. I used to work with her, and she, for ages she kept pestering me saying, join LARP, join LARP, join LARP, and I'm like, but it's that
The
stigma,
stigma,
not
yeah,
necessarily for me. It was like obviously when I was with my ex, it was the fact that I couldn't justify taking a time out of my day to be too geeky. Now that I obviously
yeah.
run a lot of the Rugged Studio stuff, I've kind of gone beyond that. I'm like, you know what? If you want to call me a geek, call me a geek. If you want to call me a nerd, call me a nerd. I'm beyond the point of caring.
Oh,
The amount of people and friends and family that I've created through being this geek is phenomenal. It's better than anything I've ever had. And she came back to me and I can't remember. I read her book. She wrote a book and I finally got around to reading her book and I said, I'm reading your book. Well, I'm actually listening to it on Audible because I drive for the rest of the week, so I
yeah.
can just listen to my books. And so I gave her book a go. And as she's obviously a novice author, and I love the book. The book was phenomenal, and it really got me stuck into it. And I was like, "Really? This is your first book?" So I messaged her and said, just letting you know, I've got a chance to read, to listen to your book, and I really loved it. And we got back to talking, and she said, "You really need to come to these LARP sessions." And I'm like, "Do I take that leap?" And I went, "You know what? Fuck it, I'm doing it.
Do it, do
I'm
it.
there. I'm there on your next session." I got out the car and I'm like, "Oh, this is so geeky." And then I did it, and I was blown away. I was like, "This is amazing!" It's method acting. It's live
Love it.
action role play. I was method acting, and now thankfully I got shown the ropes, and I was an NPC, so I didn't have my character yet. But when we were doing things that were set into a like method acting style, it was brilliant. I really got to have a play around with some of the characters and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what, fuck the stigma. But how many
Yeah.
people have that stigma in general?
I, I think a lot of just in life in general, I think the court of public opinion has become a bit too out there now at the moment. I mean, as I say, it's like to me, I'm not forced. People take it as I'll tell people openly, I'm a nerd. I'm a effing nerd. I don't care. I'll even see it to the woman at the bar who's bloody trying to buzz. You look, I'm a nerd. Oh, you really? You don't look like one. Well then, do you have to look like one? I
Yeah,
mean, that's it as well. It's like the certain stereotypes. Oh yeah, for wearing bloody comic t-shirts and all that bloody stuff. Oh, he's a nerd. It's like no, I can wear tracksuits, trainers, and be an absolute chav. I'm still going to be a nerd regardless.
yeah, and that's
I
one
mean,
of the
that.
things. Sorry, go on. Sorry, I cut you off there.
I mean, obviously, I touched on it before. I'm just going to say it anyway. Obviously, I'll not mention the names, but obviously, I never used to get. What was it last year? I went practically AWOL for about 8 9 months, didn't I?
Oh yeah, yeah. We were creating
I
memes about you and everything.
Yep, yep. I became a meme. Obviously, got in a relationship, and literally right off the bat, I said, "Look, our game," and it's like my hobby. And she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, fair enough." As soon as I turned that Xbox on, oh god,
Yeah.
it's
No,
like the hell gates opened up and Doomslayer was fighting all the demons back.
I live my life quite openly with people who are a part of the Rugged Studios, and I quite happily say that my ex, my last ex, I love her to pieces, and
Yeah,
I strongly believe, if you truly love somebody, you want to see them happy. But my passion for what I'm doing here was very strong, and she taught me a lesson, and it worked
it
against
worked
our
for me.
relationship, unfortunately.
Yeah,
She said, if you're going to do something, you need to do it right, and you need to do it. You need to have all your effort. All your time you've got spare. Now, I drive 5 to 6 days a week away from home, and the time I get back, I'm straight on with doing videos. I'm straight on with sorting this out, and obviously, recently working with yourself, doing
yeah.
doing the streaming stuff, and finally, that's paid off. You're now affiliate. That it shows it works.
You know what? I still can't believe that when people say that. I
Yeah.
mean, even though I've got the emails still there and stuff like that, it's like, well,
But that's the hard work and dedication we put in as a team, and
Yep.
that's what I built here. And as
And
I
I'll
say,
happily do that for many years to come because
yeah,
I'll say I
but
love gaming and
yeah, exactly. But the sacrifice that I made was with my ex, but I'm still there for her. You know what I mean? So
aye,
it's one of them. Unfortunately, I had to choose, and I had to choose something that I want to build, and this is what I want to build. But the stigma around being a gamer, as you say, you've got to wear
that's,
geeky t-shirts, you've got to wear all this lot, and it's like, you know what? No, I wear my brand around because I love my brand t-shirts.
yeah,
I designed them. I paid for the artist to do them, and the artist is phenomenal. He's done some brilliant
they
artwork for
are
yourself,
really
for
awesome.
me. You
The
know,
artists and stuff like that. I mean, massive credit to them. I mean, to anyone who can actually not draw anything more than a stick man, I'll take my hat off to them
but
because
you know
that's
what?
my current artistic level, just a stick man.
Yeah, which is the same as me. You know what I mean? But you're right. There's no stigma needed. You know what I mean? There's the case
Yeah,
of actually being yourself, and then when you're done with whatever you're doing in real life, sitting down here and having a good time with your friends and your family. There's a number of people. Well, I've worked with closely now for a good number of years who are like family to me. They work hard. They spend a lot of their time, most of the time without me asking, to actually do things. I mean, like one of the guys, Hightower, he's done all the artwork for the
yeah,
for the
cracking
podcast.
artwork.
This side of
But
things.
he done all this.
Yeah, he did all this for us. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And I granted, I asked him for
he's
this
outdone
one,
himself this time.
but the point is he spent his personal time to help me. And there are others as well. With us today, and obviously not with us, that have taken their time out. And when you look back on it, you're thinking to yourself, this is amazing, but the stigma's gone. You are
Aye,
you are a family, you're friends, you're a community,
yep,
whatever way it is. And when I joined the Dark Veil, which is the community that does the LARP and stuff, I was blown away. I've had for the first time I've actually walked into something and not frozen. In the sense of, like, when you close up,
yeah.
I walked in there
It's
and
like
I felt so welcomed, and it was like, you know what, this is amazing. This is what it's about.
see
Blowing
that's
that wall of stigma, isn't it?
yeah. It's like when you're on. It's like when you do a trust test on a diving board. It's like you've got your feet on the edge, and it's like whether or not you take the leap or not. And you go over your head. If I don't do it, I don't do it. I do it. I do it. When you finally do it, you're like, bloody hell, that was amazing. It's kind of like when people who are afraid of flying, they end up skydiving, and they love that more than flying. Because
Yeah.
I was saying that last night. I was mentioning like we'll go like obviously when we're having the drinks and that we're talking about like flying stuff like that, and obviously you know from first hand experience what I'm like when it comes to flying. I'm
Oh
only gonna admit
yes.
I'm scared of flying. I'm scared of it, but I still got on
Mm.
eventually
Yeah, that was
after a
funny.
few
That for
drinks.
all the how long were we planning it for? A long time, and
Yeah,
you
and
come to me literally 4 hours before we're flying. Mike, I don't think I can go. I'm like, what do you mean you don't think you can go? You're here. We're going. It's like,
and
I'm
then
afraid of flying. Fuck
the
that.
lads just rallied round and was just like, "You're going."
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
know what was one of the best countries I've ever been to, Germany. Amazing.
And
I loved it. I would still be there now. Probably
but
not by choice, probably because I was probably lost. Luckily, I found the taxi.
but look at some of the people we were with that time.
Yeah,
That was a ragtag bunch of people, but we were all into the same thing,
yeah.
and that's what it's all
But
about.
even then, even if you're not into all, I think it's good. It's like like listening to other people's stories and stuff like that. I mean, there was Evan. He's a hardcore like fitness person, and you know what? He was one of the nicest blokes you can meet.
Yeah.
Even though like he could crush my skull with his bare hands, but he was, I mean, stuff like that. It's like I like that sort of stuff, and like I will never judge anyone on what they want to do. To me now, it's like if you want to do something, regardless of what it is, hey, you could just want to sit on the bloody front porch of your garden and just drink beers all day. If that makes you happy, that makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and I've met, as you say, you meet amazing people through gaming. I mean, what I've met people from America,
I
more obviously America. I've even met people who live around the corner from me. I mean, Kyle. He lives round the corner from me.
I will never forget how I met my mate Smudge. You know Smudge.
I
He's the
know
reason
Smudge.
why we now talk.
Yeah, big
You
shout
know,
out to Smudge, man.
yeah, but I remember how I met him. I was in Germany. I was based in Germany, with the 2A Engineer Regiment, who are no longer in there, unfortunately. And you get a lot of downtime when you're in places like Germany because obviously, you're not going home at the weekend. You
Yeah.
can't afford to just fly home every weekend. So the gaming setup comes out and you're enjoying yourself online. And
I was thinking that it's like, how did you meet? Because obviously,
yeah, through gaming, I through the Xbox. I would think I was playing a game one day and someone else introduced me to Smudge. And we obviously started talking and getting to know each other. And he's like, "Oh, I'm from Preston." I was like, "Fuck off." It's like, "No, you're not. You just like looked at my profile and said from Preston." He's like, "No, no, no. I live in Preston." I was like, "No way." I said, "I'm literally down the road from you." And it was like, "No." And then
and then
obviously you and Lee got involved, and then we still talk to each other now every day.
yeah, bloody hell, it's amazing how it comes together. It's like that's the thing. It's like, oh, gaming, you just know. It's like now I've probably got more real mates
Yeah.
in through gaming, even though I never met them. Obviously, I've met you, Smudge, and all that lot. Well, obviously, I used to work with Smudge as well. So,
How
but like,
small is the world?
it's every time, man, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Because I mean, I think of what I've a couple of Kyle's mates. I've got one who lives literally 5 minutes down the road on the Walker Road, and then I've got and Kyle lives round the corner from us as well. And it's like stuff like that, man. That would never happen if we didn't have Xboxes or PCs or the internet. As I've always said, the internet is a brilliant place when it works nicely, but then you've obviously got the dark side of it.
Yeah, you do, and as you say, there's always a fine balance with things. But I think people are not stupid, but I think people are necessarily neglecting an opportunity by taking away the gaming side of things. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like don't shun it. Don't give it this stigma of geek or gamer. Now, obviously, I'm going to say I've put on a few pounds. I've put on a bit of padding. Obviously, COVID locking us down for a year, and me being a lazy bastard has left me quite a lot of weight added on, and I'm not proud of that. But the point I'm going to make here is that I exercised, or I did. I used to exercise quite a lot and did a lot of powerlifting and stuff like that. And I remember talking to somebody in the gym, and they were like, we're just passing time talking about stuff and stuff like that. And he asked me what my T-shirt was. It was only recently. I had my hoodie on with the Rugged Gamer, and it says, "I'm not bald. I'm a solar-powered gamer." And it was like,
not that late, lad.
well, I'm slappy-eed, as Buzz would like to tell me. You know what I mean? But he said, what's that all about? And I said, it's me. And he said, what do you mean it's you? And I said, that's my brand. That's who I am when I close my front door. You know what I mean? That's who I am online. And he's like, what are you doing in the gym, kind of thing? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing in the gym? I'm training. I'm doing deadlifting. It's like, oh, I expected gamers to be these like decrepit people with bad backs and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, if I don't do anything, I'll have a bad back. But you know what I mean?
I mean, that
training.
bad back, that'll just happen to everyone with aging anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just going to happen. But I mean, what was it? Well, he wouldn't have liked the bloody PTI what I had doing in Bobby then, because when I first looked at him, like he just looked like a proper like. Well, you know what PTIs are like. Some of them just do love themselves. He was that, and then he turned round. He was like, "Oh yeah, I go to Comic-Con and stuff like that. It's mint."
Boom!
That's
You know what I mean? It's
I
like
was like,
you need
what
more
a
people
hero.
like that.
He's like, yeah, I go to Comic-Con. It's bloody brilliant. I pull birds every time I go there as well because I'm fit as hell. I was just like, bloody hell.
But you know what I
Come
mean?
along with us next time. And I was like, Christ almighty.
But the more we challenge that wall of stigma, the better it's going to get. And I think it's getting there now. There's a lot more. I think streaming certainly has helped things. There's a lot of obviously girl streamers who do like that. There's loads at the moment doing these hot tub parties and stuff like that. And yeah, you know for a fact they're doing it for a reason, but I'm
It
all
works.
down. It does work, and I'm all down for people being able to express themselves how they want to express themselves. Like I've heard arguments when we first went into this whole women shouldn't be podium girls and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and models and stuff like this, and I'm like, why? She's comfortable doing that. She wants to do that. She's not being forced to do it. To let her
Uh,
do it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people like that actually do help because obviously you're getting people who might not necessarily be into games, but then when they're
but it's
doing
getting them
games and
on
stuff
to
like that, they'll
platform.
still watch them.
Yeah. And it
And
might just be a case that someone will view in on that hot tub thing, but then obviously they've made the Twitch account and all that stuff, and obviously you get the recommendations come up, and they might go off that and then hit someone else's channel
yeah,
and follow them as well along with them, and then they might just
exactly,
varietize it.
exactly. And I think that does help in some respects to break that stigma.
Yeah.
I certainly don't think we're where we need to be at the moment, but it is one of them. But that it is what it is, but with all things to do with film and developing and stuff like that, it will come along. It will come along.
Uh,
But I am, as I say, I am doing this laughing thing now, and I'm looking forward to doing it. But off the back of that, I kind of started experimenting on a few things, like doing some short stories and stuff like that. But right now, the concentration for me is to be dealing with your streaming stuff.
yeah.
You're now
Obviously, I
affiliate.
mean, yeah. The hard work begins now.
So,
The
so,
hard work begins.
so tell me, what's your plan of action now that you're affiliate?
Oof. Well, obviously, I know I stream a lot of Siege and stuff like that. I mean, but as I say, as you've well noticed, I'm sorry about that. I was just bloody pulling my bloody socks up, um, falling down, too big for my feet. But yeah, I like to play Siege and all that stuff. But Siege is one of those games. It's like if you just constantly play it, even streaming it as well, you hit a wall. And that game's stressful enough as it is.
It is.
And you've got to take a break from because you just burn out on it. It's stressful. It's even just playing like ranked and stuff like that's high stakes, man. It's high stakes.
It is.
And I'll obviously be looking into going. I do want to do some more single player games. Well, obviously I did stream a bit of Doom and that as well. Obviously I've still got that because I've never completed the Doom yet.
You'll
I've
be a big
never.
fan of Ducky because he loved the Doom. He kept trying to pester me to go on there, and we'll definitely have to
Yeah,
touch on that at some stage because you
yeah.
can do obviously the multiplayer and stuff like that. That'll be quite fun.
I just it was brilliant as well though when that game the first remaster got announced, and I just looked at it and I thought, oh, brilliant!
Sold.
Just it sold me. Just the music and stuff like that. Shame the film didn't go off quite as good, even though I found it quite funny. The
Oh,
film,
I found it entertaining. As I say, I'll watch anything shit me. I don't mind.
especially the first person part, I was like, bloody hell! I think it's the only film that's done that like properly, where it went into the first person view.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think didn't Alien try to do something similar?
I think they did, yeah. See that I'd like to start. I wouldn't mind doing some
Alien
horror,
Isolation.
Alien Isolation horrors, because unlike my brother, I'm not really that good with the horrors. I mean, like,
That'll be interesting to watch.
I had nightmares of Resident Evil 2, like the old version for the PlayStation for weeks. Like, I could not sleep for weeks. Mind you, I think I was only like about 6 or 7 back then. Yeah, would have been. Yeah, mid 1990s that was. So yeah, I was a young whippersnapper. That game scared me, man. That game scared me.
Well, there's definitely a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to it. For those obviously who
New
want to check
Resident
out,
Evil as well. I'm gonna be getting that. Hopefully, if I can, God willing, me PC will bloody run it, obviously.
well, those
But
who
graphics card,
sorry, go
you
on.
can't get for the love nor money these days at the moment.
No, no,
And that's the only
unfortunately
thing
not.
that's hindering me at the moment. The
But
graphics card.
any of you who would like to check out ProDoktorDank, his name is in this video. Obviously, if you're watching it
Yep.
now, but it is twitch.tv/ProDoktorDank. You can definitely check him out there, and I usually hover around as well. I'm hoping over the next course to start trying to do a little bit more streaming myself. But let's talk about now, to kind of finish off, about the direction the studio's going, because there's a couple of things I'd like to announce today that
Ooh.
probably haven't been too well known. And obviously talk about some of the things that we've already been working on. So obviously we mentioned the merchandise side of things. The merchandise is going ahead still. I basically wiped out all of the merch from the previous stuff. Some of it will come back, but we have redesigned some new merch with the new avatars that we've got. We've definitely got a lot more avatars coming on. We've also expanded the team dealing with the merchandise. Two people have very graciously accepted the tenure of basically doing some merch work with the artwork we've got. We do have the ProDoktorDank merchandise as well, so
Yeah,
definitely make
that's
sure
out
you check
there
that
as
out.
well. Quality. I mean, I know obviously I'm not wearing it at the moment, like, but it's in the wash. Got to keep your clothes clean.
But there'll certainly be more coming from yourself,
That,
and you'll be doing some of your own designing as well for that. Hopefully, we'll talk more
who,
about
me?
that. Yeah, we'll talk more about that off podcast.
I've got the creative mind of a bloody
Sponge.
pork sponge. Yeah, thing is, though, I'll be able to think it, but then I'll just cut. That's thing is with me. I'm a daydreamer and stuff like that, and I'll come up with mint ideas. But it's like, how do I get them into
Wow.
the physical world?
Well, you need to get that down onto a t-shirt, because you've got the artwork and stuff like that. So we'll hopefully see some more from yourself. Obviously more from me. The studio itself will be doing a lot more podcasts and interviews with developers and stuff like that,
I'm looking
and some
forward.
YouTubers as well. Say again, sorry, buddy.
I'm looking forward to that one with the Ego Soft one.
Yeah, well, obviously
I mean,
that comes out on Wednesday, so that was kind of my trial or error attempt with someone who I admire as a gamer and had the absolute pleasure of talking with as well. I fully fangirled when I got a chance to speak to him. It was brilliant. But the rest of the stuff that I've got coming, there's going to be some YouTubers and stuff like that popping down, and we'll have a similar podcast here, but it'll be an off-stream podcast. So basically, it'll be a pre-recorded, going out to YouTube podcast with various YouTubers. We've got a couple of low-level YouTubers because I like to discuss people who have grown with me, who have got come along with myself, and I will announce that Red Event Games has accepted to join us. So those who obviously do follow the studio already will know Red Event Games, and he very graciously accepted a tenure with me when we get chance. We're going to have hopefully some collaborations with Red Event Games as well at some stage, along with yourself, ProDoktorDank,
Yep.
and obviously working on some stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. We'll also have hopefully a couple of bigger YouTubers in like the 50k mark joining us as well. Again, all gaming related. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. We've obviously got a lot more artwork to do, a lot more graphic work, I should say, coming along. Hopefully, we're going to do a little bit more work on some of the pre and post edit on the videos as well. Obviously, we've got the X4 series that's currently running at the moment. The war campaign will continue to run. However, it will also run on the Twitch channel as well. So if you're a big fan of the X4, make sure you're following the Twitch channel, and we will hopefully get a side-by-side with yourself. And there is a mention of multiplayer, asynchronous multiplayer. So it's not where you're playing in someone's world, you send chips into this little tournament style thing. He goes through it on the interview. It's really good to listen to.
I'm definitely going to be. I'm going to tell my brother about that one as well, because he's been asking about that.
Yeah, well,
I'm
honestly, it'll be really good, that. And finally, one thing that I haven't announced up until now that I'd like to announce is I will be doing cosplay designs as well. So
I like it.
That's going to be now. Well, you look at my desk. I'm covered in glue and foam and all sorts of shit. But basically, I'm going to be working on cosplay and LARP weaponry and armory and stuff like that. And I'll be bringing the LARP side of stuff into it. I've actually sponsored Dark and Veil in terms of making a series with them guys, all scripted.
There's a fucking cat there.
That's your cat.
I didn't even know if I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, there's a cat there.
Oh, bloody hell.
What are you doing? Oh,
Yeah, so I'll be doing a
come
lot
on.
of cosplay and LARP stuff,
There we
working
go.
with foam. I've had some great inspiration from people like Camu Cosplay and stuff like that. We will also hopefully be attending some of the Comic Con style stuff with yourself as well, obviously in tow. So I'm really looking forward to that. So hopefully they'll start doing the conventions and stuff soon. So I think that's everything I've got so far. I think.
Oh
Oh,
God, I think the cat's going to
and I'm
give us the
writing a
cuddle
book.
death. Oh, you're writing a book.
I'm
What
writing a
about?
book. Writing a book.
Writing
So
a book.
when I get that out, I'll make sure it's obviously. We'll do a little story time. How about that? We'll sit down. I'll make some little fire sounds and put a little picture of a
The
fire
rugged
on
story.
there. The
Bedtime
rugged
stories.
story time.
Rugged gamer. Yes,
Uh,
that's what. Right, cat, you get
so
a bit too close for comfort now.
so if you
I
want
love
to
it. Here.
if you want to be bored to death or sent sleeping or something like that, then make sure you tune in for that. So there's absolutely loads coming on, and I'm hoping that we'll see more of that as time goes on. In about 6 months' time, hopefully we'll have a lot more time in our hands to do a lot more stuff. So do make sure you check out the
Hopefully.
studio.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
what were you saying?
Oh, you know what I was going to say something there, and it just completely me
Sponged.
hangover mind. Yep, me hangover mind. Oh yeah, that was it. For anyone who didn't know, I do have 3 cats. This one, which is currently sitting on my knees now, the food hogger. Oh, hello.
But
One
yeah,
of 3.
hopefully in 6 months' time we'll have a lot more coming to you. So yeah, definitely make sure you keep an eye out for myself and for ProDoktorDank as well. But is there anything from yourself you'd like to talk about on today's podcast?
What was it? I've just noticed. Obviously, Wendy's just said it's finally good to put a name to the face and stuff like that. Obviously, I never used to be blonde. Well, not this blonde, and anyway, I've only just recently got it dyed. I was gonna
Yeah.
go full blonde, but the hairdresser was like, nah, because it's like I used to have this kind of hairstyle, but obviously back in the teenage years, the teenage angst years.
Well, this is the first time you've actually put the camera on, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
I was like, now you can't go into a podcast and not have your camera on, so
nah,
I kind of forced
bloody
you to do
hairs everywhere.
it. Bloody hair. Well, that's what happens
This
when you
this
go out drinking. So you went out drinking, it's your own damn fault.
this is the cat which poured me up at 5 this morning whilst I was hungover.
Well, anyway,
Obviously,
so that's going to be us for the topics of the podcast. I just want to take a minute just to talk about the future of the podcast. Hopefully, we'll attempt to do one a week. It's certainly the aim at the moment, but obviously depending on what I have running through with everything else,
yeah,
we may not get the time to do one a week. We will also be passing it on to Dank as well if I don't get a chance to do
yeah,
it myself. And Dank is free. He will continue the podcast as obviously he is an official Rugged Studio streamer. So he'll take. I'll send him the artwork. He can have a play around with that, and he'll
yeah.
continue the podcast if he can find a guest or something like that. Or he can talk to him. Talk to
I
himself for a
can just
while.
bring my mother on if you want to meet Mother Dangus.
Mother
Hey, that's
Dank.
good. Mother Dangus instead of Mother Diarra. Hey, I'm coining that phrase. I need to get a copyright on that one.
But yeah, so hopefully we'll bring some more to you in the future. If there are some people you'd like to see on the podcast, let me know. As always, you can join the Discord that we have to get in touch, or you can just contact me directly on Twitter or through Twitch or Discord or whatnot. You're even on YouTube as well. And we'll try and obviously get people involved a little bit more with the podcast side of things. Basically, anything gaming related, we're going to be concentrating on. And I really hope you've enjoyed tonight's session. It's, as I say, it's the first one, so we're still having to play around with stuff like that. So please give us your feedback, and hopefully we will see you again next week. But for myself, thank you very much for tuning in on the podcast.
From myself as well, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'm glad I've managed to provide a face to this amazing voice.
I won't go that far, but I'm the one with the amazing voice.
Do I coin the Google voice? Do I coin the Google voice?
You can keep your Google voice.
Yeah, I'll keep that for the streams only.
But honestly, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. A big shout out to those who have joined us on the stream. Absolutely massive appreciation for you all joining us and obviously chatting away with me kind of ignoring you. So I do apologise for that. But obviously, we'll get some of you involved in some of the later podcasts with some of the topics that we do in the future. But until next time, everybody, take care for now, and I shall see you all on the next one.
Just before we go as well, I'd just like to thank obviously everyone who supported us through to affiliate and continuing to support. It's been a massive journey, and I'm glad I finally made it. Hope this journey keeps continuing for a long time.
Did you just interrupt my goodbye?
Yes, I did. Well, I waited.
That's
to the
a
end.
trademark.
Oh.
Wendy is going to be pissed with you.
Shit, sorry. I'm still new to this. Just edit that bit out. Edit that bit,
well, we're live, so I can't really edit that bit out.
Oh
no,
God, I've done a Donald Trump on a phone scandal.
No, honestly, yeah, no. Congratulations for being an affiliate, and thanks everybody for the support that you did show him. See, look, I've got to do it again now. Have you finished? Do you want to do your parting words now? Go on. I'll let you. The floor is yours. The stage is yours.
Well, as I says, obviously, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's made it possible. I, Mike, the Rugged Gamer, and everyone else, Kirst, Wendy, all them lot. Without them, I probably wouldn't have been able to hit affiliate, of course, along with all the followers, viewers, people from all around the world as well. I mean, sometimes it may be hard to understand this, but I've really appreciated it. And I'm glad I've managed to hit the goal, and obviously the only way is up.
Hell yeah.
Only way is up. Yeah. Considering the past year everyone's had as well. I mean, stuff like this, you've got to take it and with both hands. So, because obviously, as you know, the world can go to crap in an instant.
Yeah.
But obviously, hopefully, it's going back to normal. We can get back to normality again.
But we'll definitely see more of you on a stream, so that's going to be awesome.
Yep, you're going to see more of this absolutely amazing face. Nah, you don't have to. I mean, turn the camera off.
Are you done? You good? You happy now?
Yeah.
You said you were.
I'm happy.
Okay, excellent. So, again, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to do the first one with you guys being here to support us as well. Hopefully, if you do catch it on, obviously, the YouTube channel and on the other devices as well, please show your appreciation by at least just letting us know, your opinions on how it's gone and stuff like that. If you feel like, we could have included different subjects or anything like that, then please, as always, give me a comment in some way or another. I'm open to anything, including DMs as well. But until next time, everybody, take care for now. I shall see you all on the next one. Bye-bye for now.